So let's talk about GE for a moment. You actually developed a long-term partnership with them. Some companies you have a bit more of an adversarial relationship with, but GE, you decided, I guess, Jeff asked you on the board at some point, and you worked with them on a long-term basis and then took a very sizable position.
We've had a long relationship with Jeff, never owned stock until last year, but we stayed close. As you said, Jeff did talk me out of board seat in 07. 08 hit, and they had their own issues. They became a SIFI, which is not a great thing to become if you're an industrial company, because the Fed is now running your business and telling you what to do, which is not great when you're making jet engines. We had meetings with Jeff over the years, never owned stock, just gave him our advice. And last year he decided, we had told him what we thought, but it was his decision to get out of GE Credit. Now, GE Credit was a great business in the last century because they were competing with the big dumb banks, and the banks were dumb back then, and there was no shadow banking system. What happened in this century, those big dumb banks got smarter. Their cost of goods sold was way, way cheaper than GE, and there became a shadow banking system that grew up, and they were being disintermediated. And it was a very brave thing for Jeff to do, to decide to get out of that business. And he has now since been de-SIFI'd, so the Fed no longer has anything to do with his business. When he made the announcement that he was getting out, the stock went up for a second and came right back down. There was a lack of credibility. He called us and said, look, I'd love you guys to consider an investment in GE. We said, Jeff, we love you, but that comes with bite, okay? But he said, I want you to go visit the entire company, and we did. We went to every different division, spent as much time as we chose to, and came away quite impressed. And then we did a lot of work on our own, and what we found, and this was the aha moment, that when you looked at GE's financial statements, you had in and outs, and you had some businesses round tripping. They were out, they came back in, they left again. And what we found is the assets that are in GE today, through the Great Recession, peak to trough, earnings were only down 5%. And the reason is they have so much service revenue, maintenance revenue, and probably almost 90% of their earnings comes from maintenance and service that are long-term contracts. So we were quite impressed with what we found.